Hi, this is Patrycja from Hayes Sewing Machine Company. We're in Wilmington, Delaware. Today I'm going to show you how to digitize a clip art using the scanning bed and turn it into an embroidery design on your Baby Lock Solaris using the IQ Designer. First thing we're going to do is load our clip art image onto the scanning bed, and you're going to use the green magnets that came with it in order to attach the piece of paper to the scanning bed. The side will attach like your regular hoops. You're going to slide them in just like normal, and it attaches. You also want to make sure that you have no thread physically on your machine. If you leave it threaded as it's scanning, the camera may pick up on the thread end and digitize it and include it in your embroidery design. So you want to make sure it is unthreaded. Once your hoop is attached, we're going to select IQ Designer. This top icon, the picture of the leaf, is your scanning button. We're working with our clip art image, so we are going to select Line Design and then select Scan. It will give you a pop-up message that the frame will move, so basically just keep your hands out of the way, hit OK, and it will go through the process of scanning our clip art. Now this part here will take a moment because it's going through such a large field. Once it has finished scanning, you will see the picture of the snowman show up on your screen. You will have two red arrows in the corners. We are going to move them to shimmy it around our snowman, so that way we can have just the snowman digitized and not get part of the magnets in there. Select OK. This will let you change the grayscale detection, so if all of your lines are not showing up, you can have it pick up a little bit more of your lines. If you are seeing too many lines, then you can change the grayscale detection to darker. We're just going to leave it in the middle for the moment. Hit set. Right now it will show me my snowman with the ghost image behind it. You can see part of the magnet. I would like to turn that off so it's visually easier to see. This button here will let me scroll through and delete my ghost image so that way I don't see it behind my design. I would like to take a look at my design to make sure everything is okay with it first. All the lines are closed, there's no little weird things going on. So we are going to zoom in on the snowman and take a look at it. I can already see there are a couple of spots I will need to fix. Right here, where the mittens are, part of the scarf, and a little part of his bottom have breaks in the line. So if I try to color it in, this is my line area, this is my color area. So if I select the bucket and I color in that area, see how the entire area is colored in? Because of that break in the line, it will bleed through. The color will not stay where I would like it. I'm going to hit undo, and we're going to zoom in even more so I can fix that line. And you can zoom in however much you need to be able to see. You can also use the hand, that is your panning, so then I can shift the design around to the location I would like to work with. We are going to select our pencil and physically draw a line with your finger or your stylus. So when I put my finger on the screen, see how I can draw a line. So I am going to draw a line to close up that opening. I'm going to do the same thing over here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more just so it's easier for me to draw that line. I'm going to select the pencil again, and we're going to draw. If for some reason I didn't like how my line looked or I didn't fill in all the way, you can hit undo. It will delete what you did, and then you can just draw the line again until you're happy with the finished product. I also had a spot over on the scarf, so I'm going to shimmy my snowman a little bit here. There's a spot here. I can fill it in, or if I wanted to, I could also leave it and it would just be like creases in my scarf. So this is going to be also personal preference, how much you would like to play with it. I'm going to hit the pencil again, and I would like to fill in those lines. There was also a spot towards the bottom, right down here, that I'm going to fill in as well. So I'm going to pan, and I accidentally drew a line, so I'm just going to hit delete or undo. Use the hand so I can pan down so that spot is more in the center, so when I zoom in, I have a cleaner shot. I'm going to select the pencil, and I'm going to draw that in. So right now, I have basically filled in all of the broken lines that I could see. However, one of the other things that I also changed between the clip art and the sample, if you take a look at my original, the clip art snowman had a puddle underneath, which I personally didn't want, so I erased it. To erase a line, you actually have an eraser icon, this one here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can shift over to the spot that I would like to be in. So this whole puddle underneath, I would like to erase. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to select my eraser. You can change the size of it. I'm going to put my finger close to the line where I want it to delete, and you'll kind of see a little red circle up here. That's my eraser, and it's just going to follow my finger. And I like to do rough with the eraser, and then I really like to zoom in to get details. And my suggestion is always to start away from the spot you want to erase and shimmy in, rather than trying to erase right on the spot, because you may accidentally catch other lines and then you'll have to either undo or we'll have to redraw them. I'm going to erase this spot here as well. And then let's zoom out a little bit so I have some more here. I'm going to pan, use my eraser, erase all of that. I'm going to pan a little bit more, select my eraser, erase that, shimmy up here, and I'm really going to zoom in so I can get that cleanly. Once I am happy with my design and how it looks, I can start filling in my colors. So this right here was our color fill attributes. So right now I do have the satin stitch selected, so this here is your satin stitch. You can select whatever color you would like. Typically snowmen are white, but I cannot see white on the screen, so I'm going to, for the moment, just make him gray, and we can change this later. But the reason I do that, when I select my bucket and when I touch, see how I can visually see it change on the screen. If I selected white, I really would have a hard time seeing it. We're also going to select his face, and then there's a little tiny part that's sticking out right behind the scarf and the mitten. So I am going to zoom in, and we're going to pan over, and it's that little spot right there. Select my bucket, and so now my snowman is colored in. So next I'm going to do the hat. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and we're going to pan him over. So we're going to select the color that I would like the hat. So I'm going to do a bright blue, select my bucket, and select the hat. We're going to do a light blue for the trim. My bucket is selected, so we're going to click in here. For the carrot, we're going to pick the orange. For my scarf, I actually would like to do it 2 different colors. So I did parts green and parts yellow. So I'm going to just touch which parts I would like to be green, and then the other parts I'm going to make yellow. The eyes I would like to make black. I'm going to really zoom in so I can grab the eyes easier. They're so tiny that it can be hard to do if you're not really zoomed in. Make sure my bucket is selected, and then I'm going to touch the eyes. I'm going to zoom out and pan down. For the buttons, we're going to do like a dark gray. Select my bucket and fill in my buttons. And then my mittens, I made pink. Select my pink mittens, make sure my bucket's selected, and then we're going to pan over and select my bucket again and select my mittens. So there is my filled in design. So once I'm happy with how it looks, we're going to select next. And so now it is basically digitizing it for me. What I also like to do is select the eye, which is for information. So this will let you see a realistic view of what your embroidery is going to look like as it's digitized. Now as I look at it, the colors all look nice. The only thing I'm not super happy with is how thick my satin stitch is. So I would like to edit that. I'm going to select close. This area here lets you toggle back and forth between elements of your design. So I'm going to scroll through and see how that color changes, and you'll also see a little red box on the screen. So that lets me toggle through elements of my design until I get to the one that I want. I'm after the black outline. Now you'll notice I have the black outline showing, but when you look at my box, it only highlights one of my buttons. And that's because not all of my black lines are touching. So the machine will actually let you change the attributes individually for different parts of the outline. But I really would like to change the attributes for all of the outlines at one time so that I don't have to do this piecemeal. You'll see a link button, so if I select that, it will automatically grab all parts of my black outline and link it together. So when I make changes to it, it's all done at one time. I would like to change the size so that way I can make my width smaller or narrower so it's not as thick. We're going to shimmy that down to about 0.04, so when I hit OK, it will recalculate my stitch width to be narrower. So when I hit the eye and look at my design again, I'm much happier with the scale of that satin stitch. So to me, this design looks good. So we are ready to embroider. When you hit set, you will have a pop-up box. The machine is prompting you and basically telling you we are getting ready to leave IQ Designer and we are going to go into the embroidery area. Once you leave this screen, you will not be able to edit your design. My suggestion is to always save your design as a working file before you leave in case you want to make changes or edit the design at a later time. So I'm going to hit cancel and I'm going to hit memory. Memory will allow you to save this design either on your machine or your USB stick. For the moment, I'm going to just save it into the machine. Now when I hit set, it's going to prompt me again. And so now, because I have saved my design, I'm going to hit OK. And I am now in my embroidery screen. So this will be an area you're familiar with. I'm going to save my design again, but because I'm now in the embroidery, when I save my design, it is now saving it as an embroidery file. So we have the same snowman saved twice. Once as a working file, which I can edit, and then a second time as an embroidery design. we are ready to embroider. So you would hit embroidery, and at this point you are ready to embroider out your snowman.